Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
Hey everybody, it's Zach, aka Zach's Reviews. We are backing up in another video, and guys, today was Superman and Lois. Sorry guys, I took very long because, I was letting things record, and I just finished watching Superman and Lois now, but, another great episode, guys, per usual for Superman and Lois. Today's episode, we get to see, from where last episode took left off. We saw Clark taking Jordan to the fortress to see what was wrong, and of course, Jor-El said that his hearing is kicking in now, and he needs to. The only way you can help him is he needs to learn how to control it, and it's going to take time, but you need to help him like you did. So of course, they're in the living room, they're talking about it, and the fact that Jordan can't go to school, he needs to stay home, and he needs to learn how to control his abilities, and he pretty much has headphones on, drowning out all the noise. And, Jonathan, of course, is a little bit not happy about it, that he has to, make up another lie. And, of course, he's not happy previously of the fact that, Jordan broke Jonathan's arm. So he's still a little bit angry about that, and about the fact that he has to lie for, Jordan again. So Jonathan's pretty much Jonathan. So pretty much, we're seeing, Jordan stay home, and he's learning how to control his abilities. But in the next, and he ends up going to bed, and he tells Jordan, tomorrow we're gonna work on controlling this. And he's like, yeah. And he goes to bed, and of course, Clark and Lois talk about how how he's pretending to be Marcus Bridgewater. He's pretending to be him, and of course, Lois isn't buying it. Lois says, I want to find out more about him. I'm going to look into him, and, because I know he's not a reporter, there's something sus about him. And of course, Clark is like, do you think he is working with, because they think he's working with Morgan Edge, and they think Morgan Edge I forget what they call him, I have to search it up, because they call Lex I forget what they call him. They say something for him. Let me search it up. Superman and Lois. I think they call him I'm trying to figure that out. I don't know. It's not popping up what they call him. Let me see real quick. Superman and Lois. Lex Luthor. I literally don't know what they call him. I forget, guys, but I think they call him something of someone that they don't. I forget what they call him, but yeah, he is pretty much pretending to be Marcus Bridgewater, and of course we end up finding out that he is not that, and we end up seeing how, I guess, also Lois is trying to work with Lana, trying to also pretty much tell Lana, because they figure, because Lana is believing, Lois now that there's something wrong with, what's his name, with Morgan Edge. And what I love about that is that we're seeing more of Lois's reporting side, and I love that about Lois's character, is seeing her reporting and being a badass, literally. So she's working with Lana, trying to uncover all the things that Morgan Edge is doing, but she's using Lana's helping Lois, but Lana's by being the inside person to figure out what Morgan Edge is doing, and she's kind of figuring out that Morgan Edge only hired her to pretty much get test subjects to pretty much kill them and give them or inject them with the I guess whatever the X kryptonite or whatever, pretty much to give them powers of like Superman. So, but a lot of people don't live, as we end up finding out, because the only one that did survive, I guess through the testing, is the one girl that's Morgan Edge's assistant. I forget what the one girl's name is, but let me figure that out real quick. Because I forget what her name is, but Lisa Lar. Well, yeah, Lisa literally was the only one that survived the testing that, Morgan Edge was doing. And pretty much, we see a moment where Lana's talking to her one friend, and she's like, I need help getting a job. You turned your life around, I would really love for you to help me out and help me get a job here. And of course, Lana doesn't want to say no, but in a way, she knows what Morgan Edge is doing is, using the people that he hires as test subjects for, his own gain. So we see a little bit more of her, like, kind of in a way wishing that she could tell people that what he is doing, but, like, Lois doesn't want her to do that because she doesn't know what's going to happen, and she wants to make sure they can really get him for all the crimes he's committing. So, where all that's going on, we see a lot more of Clark and Lois in this episode, which I really, really liked, is seeing their dynamic and them working together, and it reminds me of stuff we would see at the Daily Planet of them working together, reporting, and just doing cool stuff together. And I love how Lois asks, Lex to go, to the diner so they can meet up, and so she can really find out, who he really is, and she wants him to, give her answers. And while she's doing that, talking to, Lex, I love it because Clark is the one that goes in, Lex's RV and, tries to figure out, who he is and all that, and figure out if he is if he is bad or whatever, or the guy that's in the suit. As right now, I forget what they call him in the show, but they're trying to figure out if he's the man in the suit or has anything to do with Morgan Edge. And we end up, he sees this sphere that talks to, that is Lex's AI, and ends up finding out, because when Clark walks in the RV, it says, how did your talk go with Lois, Luthor? And I love it because Clark's reaction to that when his AI said Luthor, I loved it. He was like, what? I just love the cinematography. Love how this show just keeps us on our toes. I just love it. And every moment makes me just so super happy thinking that, it's literally coming off the comic book pages on the way the show makes me feel of, Superman. This is the way we're supposed to feel about Superman. See every moment of, him being Clark, being Superman, and somehow they kind of blend together, and him with Lois, and just the dynamic between them both, and it's just amazing. And I love how after they're gonna do, after she's like, when she says she has to go because she gets a call from her friend saying that I forget what, or that they're moving Kryptonite, Edge is doing that. Lex and her, Clark and her leave. And Lex ends up finding out, when he goes into the RV that, her husband was in there, Lois's husband, Clark. But he says, that's just Lois's husband. He's not a threat. But because he doesn't know yet that he's Superman, Lois's husband. And I just love that. I love that he doesn't know yet. And I love how he ends up finding out from his AI that Morgan Edge is moving Kryptonite, and ends up saying, I think he says, this will make Lois understand or something. And I love how Lois finds out from her friends, and Clark and Lois end up going to the place where Morgan Edge is shipping out. I guess he's shipping out just one piece of Kryptonite. But I love how it was Lisa Lar's plan to do that, to find out who the man in the suit is, and find out who knows, and to get rid of them, essentially. She's setting a trap. So I guess that I guess maybe she knew that they were against each other, and knew that that they were both on Edge's tail and her tail. So they kind of she set up a plan so they would interact with another and distract each other, while she could ship out all the Kryptonite to Edge's place to start test subjecting the people that Lana is hiring. Which was clever. There's the story is building and building, and it's becoming so good, and we end up finding out as Lex stands in front of the truck that's shipping out that one little piece of Kryptonite. Lois and Clark are following to see where this shipment is going to lead, but of course, Lex is just going to take it because he needs it to defeat Superman. Because that's the only thing we end up finding out, in his universe, Kryptonite's the only thing that can kill, I guess, that has a chance, I guess, or actually, I think it can kill all of the Kryptonians, or it's a thing that maybe starts it all, and that's why that's why he went to a different universe to get it. But I don't think that was his intention to go to a different universe, but we'll end up finding out in the next episode probably. But we get a little bit also more on the inside of, I guess, him and Lois in a different universe had a kid, and I guess, she ends up dying because she's a reporter there, ends up dying because she's giving out the information about the ex-kryptonite. She ends up dying, and him and, Lex and his daughter end up building a suit as revenge to get, on, the Kryptonians and Superman. And, he says he'll be right back, he'll come back, like, deal with the Kryptonians and come back. Or I guess, well, he's the only Kryptonian, I guess, because I guess the ex-kryptonite that Edge is doing is that he is making other superheroes like, Superman, but they're not Kryptonian. The only Kryptonian is Superman, so my bad on that one. But I guess this is the only thing that's the start of all this, and he's kind of thinking that, like, it's going to be in the same universe that he has in his world where it's happening the same way. But in seriousness is that, again, Clark has those urges to he has to put his powers in check. He has those feelings too, as we know from the last episode, of course. So he has those feelings of using his powers when he gets angry, but he doesn't do that. He always puts himself in check. Of course, that Lex from that universe doesn't know that our Superman isn't his Superman, and I feel like we'll kind of get an understanding probably of that. Maybe I'm not sure where the season's going to end of all this, but I love how it's like we don't know if that he'll understand that that's not his Superman, and maybe our Superman can help his situation out. I don't know if maybe that Superman on his Earth dies again. I don't know how he got here. I don't know if his Superman died and he ended up getting stranded here on our Earth with our good Superman. I have no clue, but hopefully we find out more about that. But I love that moment he has with, but before we get to that, I love the moment where, of course, he's standing there, wants to get that one little piece of ex-kryptonite. And, of course, I love how Clark sees down the road that there are gunmen ready to get out and shoot the guy that's standing in the middle of the road, which is Lex. And I love how he's like, I got to do something before he gets hurt. Ends up flying, getting the car that had all the guys in it that were protecting the truck with the ex-kryptonite, and takes it, like, pretty much all the way on the mountain and flies back. That was so Superman. I loved it. It was like, it was so good. I just love those mini moments that make me feel make me understand why I love the show. It's those moments that it feels like Superman. And this is a show and this is a version of Superman that I love. That makes me feel like this is Superman. Like, Tyler Hoechlin does a great job as Superman, and I love that. I love how he is by far my favorite Superman, because it reminds me of how Superman should be, and like how Superman was in the comics. It reminds me of that, and I haven't really gotten that. The only feeling I got of another person I love as Superman is Brandon Ralph. I like him as Superman too. Like, I love him as Superman. I would probably put Tyler and then Brandon. Originally, it was Brandon before Tyler, because Tyler, I felt like, didn't have a time to shine as Superman in Supergirl. Because he was like a guest star in a sense. But now that he has his own show, he's fleshed out more. You got to really get into the character more of Clark and Superman. And he shines amazingly in the show. He does a phenomenal job. It's like literally, he is the Superman that came out off the comic book pages and, is dropped into the show. He just does an amazing job. I just love it. And the girl that plays Lois is the best version of Lois, in my opinion, that I've ever seen. So, the cast is phenomenal. The CGI is great. The cinematography is beautiful. It looks like no other CW show, and that's what... And I'm happy the show stands out, with story, cinematography, the clothing design, the CGI. It stands out, it stands apart from all the other CW shows in a great way, and I'm super happy for that. That this show just hits all cylinders that all the other shows don't hit, really. I would say the second show that has great cinematography, great clothing, great CGI is Stargirl, which is another show I really love, and I can't wait for that show to come back on. But of course, I love that moment where we end up seeing where, Clark takes the car, comes back, Clark takes the car as Superman, comes back, and is with Lois. They end up pulling up where, Lex tells the guy to get out of the car, ends up getting ex-kryptonite, and she's saying, "You're going all Rambo. We were trying to follow them to see where they were going with the ex-kryptonite, where the shipment was." And he's like, I don't care. He's like, I wanted to get this before everything, and he's trying to, in a way, he's kind of being secretive, saying he's like, you need to understand why I'm doing this, or why I need you to trust me on all this. In a way, trying to tell her, but in a way he doesn't want to tell her that, you know, he like dated you, and he thinks it's like the future it's gonna happen, but really he's in a different universe. But he thinks it's like in the future that's what's gonna happen because it's happening the same way I guess it happened in his universe. So, and he doesn't want to tell that, you know, I was married to you and I had a kid with you, you know, in the future, but when it's not the future, he's in a different universe. But I don't think he realizes that yet. At least I don't know if he does or doesn't. But I just love how the show is going. I love how also when Jordan is trying to, you know, control, you know, his hearing with his dad, I love how he just can't focus on the drip in the sink. He just can't focus, and he hears everything, and he's really struggling. And I love how he just didn't get it right away. He's actually learning how to use it. But I do love how he got it at the end when he ends up saving, you know, his dad. When, you know, Lex ends up pretty much setting him up with the meetup that, you know, Lois sets up to get the X-Kryptonite. So I guess, you know, she doesn't know he's Lex yet, but so that, you know, he can tell Superman about what's coming and stuff, but she doesn't know that Lex is setting him up to pretty much kill him. So I do love the moment where, you know, I love how also Lex used solar flares. That was so cool. And I just love how, like, we're getting all the lore, getting all the cool stuff from, like, the comics and stuff like that, like using the solar flares and everything. It reminded me of, like, it just reminds me of, like, how, like, the shows that really care about the character. Like, Smallville did that stuff. And I love Smallville, the show. So I love that. It makes me feel like they really actually care about the character and care about the lore of Superman, which I really like. But I love how, like, finally that was clicking in the gear that, you know, like, you know, Jordan finally, like, could hear at the right moment when he needed to hear that his dad was in trouble, and ends up saving his dad with Jonathan, and they end up, you know, being, you know, connecting again and helping his dad. And Lois finally figures out that, you know, the guy that, you know, she thought was sus, that, you know, thought it wasn't his real name, which his name, or he was pretending to be, again, Marcus Bridgewater, is actually, his real name, I guess, in their universe, I guess that this person died, is John Henry Irons. That's the dude that lives there, I guess. But I guess but that's not his name over there. So I guess in their universe, this dude's dead. He doesn't know that because he thinks that he's alive and, like, in the future, I guess, whatever. I think that's what I'm grasping. I could be wrong again, but that's his real name here, is John Henry Irons. So, yeah. So I love that, how we end up finding out who, I guess, in this world, who he would have been is John Henry Irons, but in a different universe, he's Lex. So, or Captain Luthor, as we know. So I'm assuming he's Lex. That's at least what I'm assuming. But what I love also is that we end up seeing a little bit of a dynamic of Jonathan talking to Sarah, and, you know, I guess when, you know, Jordan's trying to use his hearing and try to control it. It's working, but he's hearing Sarah talking to Jonathan, and Jonathan's, like, pretty much, like, he's talking to Sarah, but in a way he thinks that, you know, Jordan thinks that he's flirting with Sarah, saying, I'll be there for you if you need, you know, someone to talk to, and he doesn't like that. And he ends up punching a hole in the wall. I'm like, oh God, I don't know what this is going to do with their brother dynamic. I don't know what that's going to do. But we end up finding out that, you know, Jonathan is talking to a new girl that he ends up meeting in school, which, Beth, what was her name? I couldn't understand when Sarah tried to...
Something, Tegan...
Tegan what?
I don't know, Tegan W, I think.
Tegan... I don't know. Her name is Tegan. But when Sarah said it in the show, I couldn't understand her. I had to put it in the captions because I couldn't understand what she was saying. But their name is Tegan, so of course that's going to be Jonathan's new love interest. I knew he wasn't going to move in on Sarah because, you know, Jonathan knows that, you know, Sarah likes Jordan and Jordan likes Sarah, but they're just not a thing yet. They didn't, you know, put any labels on it. But I loved this episode. It was so good. And we ended up seeing Tegan Wickham. Okay. So, of course, that's going to be his new love interest, and we'll see more of that dynamic. But I'm just so happy that, you know, it looks like Jordan's able to control the hearing now. Which makes sense because that was such a moment for him needed to step up to find his dad because his dad was going to die by Lex using that hammer, which reminded me of Stormbreaker a little bit because it was coming back to him. But he was using, like, energy and, like, the vibrations to, like, hurt Superman and catch it and do a whole bunch of things. But I love how he, like, to do that to him, he needed to use solar flares to weaken Superman, which I really enjoyed. That he had all that knowledge from that universe to do all these things. And I love how we find out that, you know, again, you know, him and his daughter made that suit. I just love learning these things. It makes more sense about the character, and it's making me care about the character of Lex and find out, and making me want to learn more about him and see if that maybe he'll understand that our Superman isn't that bad. But we see a moment where the tables turn, and, you know, Jordan and Jonathan end up, you know, flying in there, and, you know, Clark's truck hits Lex, does the spin move into a box of scraps, literally. And I thought it was super funny, or or not even like super funny, but like, it was funny, the spin move, but I thought it was cool how, like, when Clark walked over, and his eyes were glowing, and he looked like he was about to beat the crap out of Lex. And I love how in Lex's eyes, it was like a flashback, or it was like seeing, like, oh my god, like, you are that Superman. It's happening right now. He's more than ever convinced, because, you know, Clark looked like he was about to kill him. And, you know, I love how Lois is like, you know, it's over with. You know, it's over. You don't have to do anything. But like, that's a side I bet you as kids didn't see, that he would do something like that. Look like he was about to literally go after Lex like that. But like, so I don't know. I wonder if that's gonna, like, if they'll see anything like that, like, oh, like, you look like you were about to hurt that dude, or, oh, because Sarah looked like in the last episode that when Clark got shot with the kryptonite, you know, bullets, he looked like he was going to hurt the soldier and stuff, and that probably, you know, scared Sarah. So I wonder if any of this will come about, that maybe Sarah will tell them, and they'll be like, oh, we saw a situation like that, and be like, oh, Dad, you know, I don't know. I don't know if anything like that will happen, but maybe it will. I don't know where it will go, or it might not happen at all, where they kind of question, are you can't get angry, like you told me I couldn't get angry and stuff like that. I don't know if that will happen or not, but literally, guys, I just love this show. I love how it goes in the depth of everything. I love how we're learning more about Lex's character and his backstory, about him and you know, Lois being married and them having a kid, and, you know, and him and his daughter building the suit. I'm curious to know how he got to our universe. That's what I'm curious to know. And I'm curious to know where the show's going to go. I just love this show. Every time, it's like the one thing I'm excited for on Flash Tuesdays is this show. I literally, like, I literally love it. Like, I call it Superman Tuesdays now. Like, Superman and Lois Tuesdays, because I feel like it's no longer Flash Tuesdays for me anymore, because I'm not really looking forward to Flash. I'm looking forward to Superman and Lois. This is the one show that hasn't let me down, and the one show that, like, has a great CGI, great storytelling, great cinematography, great, clothing design, everything. It's off the charts, and it reminds me more, like, of the comic books on the way the character's supposed to be, and that's what I really like about the show. But guys, I can't wait to hear what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. Again, if you're new to the channel, please, you know, subscribe to the channel, put on those notifications, like this video. I really can't wait to hear what you guys thought about this episode, because I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for next week's episode. But without further ado, I'm going to end this video here. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.